Okay, got a quick video for you here, and this is just interesting situation. We've got a house that actually looks pretty nice. It's on a nice street. Actually bought one. If we look way down the block here, right in the middle, I think it's one we just flipped a few months ago. But here you come in. We've got, needs a little cleaning, but we've got new vinyl. We have brand spanking new carpet. But, well, let's do a quick. We've got the two-tone paint. This is exactly the type of stuff we do. We've got new vinyl windows. We've got vinyl siding. French doors out onto the deck. Deck needs a little coat of stain here. And we've got newer cabinets. You might be able to tell, not be able to tell in the video, but there is some wear marks, along here, and you can tell they're not new. And the flooring seems a little squishy. Right here, you'll see we've got a Federal Pacific box. That's a no-no. We need to replace that. The countertops, very generic. Appliances, very old, very dated, not what you would expect in a rehab. We have, they've just painted over these old doors instead of doing newer looking hollow core doors. We don't have new fixture or new handles. They've just kind of polished up the brass ones that were probably original. We don't have a new tub. It's just kind of dingy. We've got a really crappy, right along here, we've got a really crappy caulk line between the tub, and it's actually already curled. I doubt anybody's even lived in here, and it already shows signs of wear. This is also this crappy plasticky stuff, as opposed to being good quality, tile that we would do. Again, they didn't do new fixtures or water fixtures. We have a pedestal. There's no storage. There's no counter here. I say that's a no-no. We've got the crappy old towel bars. And again, this is the typical light they've got in here. These are like the crappiest things. And it's not like it's a crappy light. It's a light, but it's like a $3 or $4 fixture that you get in multi-packs at Home Depot. There's no pizzazz to this, other than the fact that, it's got nice carpet. It looks decent. It just doesn't have the wow factor. And right now, this house is sitting and sitting and sitting and not selling. And this in good condition. Again, we got a nice kick plate there. The door looks good. It's not perfect. They should have touched it up. We've got crappy, paint lines. Same with the French doors on the deck, where, come on, people. This is like $8 handy person kind of work to go in there and just scrape the paint off of there. And let's get in here and I'll show you big no-nos. We've got an ancient furnace in here, and that's a 1600. You might as well figure maybe 1900, because you're probably going to need to update some of the venting with your permits and everything. Water heater. I'm looking at the serial number. It looks like it's it looks in really good shape, but it's 1991 is the serial number. So that's a no-no. Any inspector is going to basically tell a potential buyer that that is way beyond its useful life. They're going to say the same thing about the furnace, even if it passes the test. And that's the type of stuff that's going to scare off a first-time buyer. They've got the nice newer louvered doors. Now here, we've got a nice painted, washer and dryer area, but there's no washer and dryer. And typically, those things don't cost a lot of money. In fact, we often get really nice newer washer and dryers on Craigslist for a couple of $100. But it might as well be $1 million for the first-time home buyer that's pinching every penny they've got to get into this deal. Again, we've got a nice new pedestal. We've got a crappy faucet. It looks like they borrowed from whatever was here before. And we don't have any place to put anything in the bathroom. So again, cheap fixture, cheap again, crappy grout, just not professional work. We've got, this is real tile, but it's like the generic white, spending a little bit extra and getting something that's got a little wow factor. Obviously was the difference between this house not selling, because this is clearly an investor had purchased this home and now it's being marketed as a foreclosure. So they did a lot of things right. They spent a lot of money. They just didn't spend enough to do it the way they needed to do it. And invariably, this house did not sell. So somebody spent a lot of money and ended up with a foreclosure. And now we've got a house, again, it's somewhere between retail and foreclosure. And although it's closer to retail, it's still not selling. This is a $135,000 house right now, as I'm making this video, in completely rehab condition. It's not selling at 105 right now. Yet looking at it, I've got to stain the deck, I've got to replace all these doors, I've got to updo the tile. I mean, I'm going to spend $15,000 to do this right, even though a lot of the work's already been done. So I think the lesson here is don't cheap out. You can't shortcut things in this type of market. The house has to be in retail condition, and your retail condition is dictated by the marketplace. So you have to look at what other houses are selling for and what their condition is, and yours needs to be at least as good, if not better. So I hope that was helpful. This is Michael Jake with localmentor.com.